Alright, so we watched The Man Who Fell to Earth, which stars, of course, the father of the man who directed the Warcraft movie, David Bowie.
Hello, I'm David Bowie.
What the?
This showed up on my list. God, what was the reason why that showed up on my list? I shouldn't need to mention it because I did literally talk about it when it showed up on the race, and that should have gone in, I think, at the... whatever. It's from 1976. It's from Criterion's all-time favorites list. Alright, that explains it. So yeah, David Bowie playing an alien, if you can believe it. Completely out of character for that fella, am I right? He's such a weird character in the movie that, like, we don't know if he's actually an alien or if he's just a weird guy for a little bit. It gets very explicit later. But they do... Okay. He shows up on Earth, but we don't see him, like, come down in a ship or anything. What we see is he's just sort of stumbling down a hill. Like a loose dirt hill. And he's just sort of carefully shuffling down it. He's dressed in all black, which is the least colorful thing David Bowie has ever been, photographed in. He ends up sleeping on a bench out in front of a store. There's some carnival folk who look at him. He ends up going into the store and he wants to sell... He treats it like a pawn shop, basically. He has a ring that he wants to sell to get some money. He's like, how much will I get for this? And the lady behind the counter is like, you got any ID? And he's like, yes, I'm from Britain. Here's my passport. So she's like, fine, I'll give you $20 for this. This isn't a pawn shop, though. You can't come back and buy it back later. Which, you just know right off the bat he's getting scammed. But he doesn't seem to care. He's like, well, okay. So he takes the money and off he goes. He adds that bill to a wad of bills once he leaves the place. He's got like a whole bunch of hundreds. He's got a stack of rings. And at first, at this point, I was like, oh, is he scamming? Is he scamming shops with like a bunch of counterfeit rings or something? No, he just has these. He takes his wad of cash, he hires a patent lawyer, or as he pronounces it, a patent lawyer. Patent. And the lawyer's like, yeah, okay, with that kind of money, sure, I can work for you. What do you need? David Bowie's like, I have these things for you to read. Look at these, look these over, and let me know what you think. And the lawyer's like, well, okay, let me have them overnight, and I'll get back to you tomorrow. He's like, no, you can't. I have to stay with them at all times, so I'm staying here. So you just read them while I'm here. Like, all right. So he stays up all night reading the things, and he tells him at the next day, you have 9 incredibly powerful patents here. With these, you can put General Electric and Eastman Kodak out of business. Your company will be worth like $300 million. And David Bowie tells him, tell you what, you take 10% and run the show for me. I don't want to talk to people. Which, that's a pretty nice deal, right? Somebody comes up and offers you a fortune to become the CEO of a successful company. Who's going to say no? I don't know. Seems good to me. They cut ahead a little bit. His company is suddenly doing well. They go from not existing to being a very successful company almost overnight. I don't know if it's almost overnight or what's going on. The movie sort of jumps around time-wise, and the only clue that we get as to how much time has passed is how much older certain characters look. And I say certain characters because David Bowie, of course, is an ethereal creature who does not age. Both in real life and in the film, because he's like an alien, right? So the patents that he showed up with, the things that he's like, these are my patents for things. What can I get with these? He knows those because this is basically the plot from Men in Black, right? They were like, we fund the organization with patents from alien technology that we'd sometimes let it loose onto the market, like the microwave or like instant coffee or shit like that. That's basically this. And just like Men in Black, this movie's got Rip Torn. That's actually a great segue to the next scene, because this is an important one. Rip Torn is playing a college professor, and he's sleeping with one of his students. It's incredibly awkward. It's a 70s movie, so they were not at all averse to putting, just full frontal titties in there. So, I hadn't anticipated seeing Rip Torn's hog, but this is definitely an equal opportunity film when it comes to depicting things. So you see hog, you see bush, it's all there on display. It's Rip Torn. Be warned if you decide to give this thing a watch. So he's boning this student, and he's got like a picture of his wife and kid there, and she like puts her underwear on the picture, and you're like, oh, he's having an affair. And this is the thing, is we find out later on that he might not have been having an affair. He's like, I'm separated from my wife, we divorced. So the real question is, did they divorce and then he started sleeping with college women? Or did he start sleeping with his students and then the wife found out and divorced? Who's to say? Either way, Rip Torn's character is a little bit repugnant, which is fair. It's Rip Torn, he knows how to dodge a wrench. But I don't know that he knows how to be a decent human being in an acting part. He's probably a fine enough guy in real life when he's not sneaking into a bank, but, he has a certain quality to his acting. Everything is like super over the top, and his character always feels very bombastic in his annoyance. Like, I don't know, watch Freddy Got Fingered, you'll see exactly what I mean.
Mike Fitzgibbon's son is a nuclear physicist, and my son can eat it!
No!
You can either eat that goddamn roast beef, or you can go to bed.
So they him and the college girl she's like taking pictures of him, and it just cuts to David Bowie looking very disturbed and off-put, and then he tells his buddy, who he's doing the business for him, the patent lawyer, he tells him, I think we need to sell Eastman Kodak, the photography department. And the guy's like, why would we do that? And he's like, trust me, we're gonna do that. I'm like, okay. So at this point, I'm like, does he have some sort of psychic knowledge of what's going on in his products? No, it was just an interesting segue. This movie is full of fun but odd segues. This is a very strange movie. Like, this is weird. So Bowie is on the road next. He's just out for a drive with his driver, and he goes into a hotel he was going to New Mexico, so he goes to a hotel in some town in New Mexico, and he's like, all right, my hotel room is up on the 5th floor. Take me up, elevator operator. Because this is the 70s, and I guess were elevator operators still a thing back in the 70s? Somebody's sitting there, and, it's their job to make sure the elevator stops on your floor? It feels very antiquated now, but it is 50 years later, so who knows? So he's going up in the elevator, and he's like, oh no, it's too fast. And he, passes out in the elevator, and the operator, this lady, she's like, oh my god, mister, are you okay? He, stops the elevator, and he's like, no, keep going, I need to get to the 5th floor. Realizing he should have taken the stairs. And so he's got just blood pouring out of his nose. She ends up picking him up on the 5th floor and carrying him to his hotel room. She's carrying him like in The Bodyguard. Just scooped him up like a baby. So she lifts, clearly, dumps him on the bed. He hurls. Then we cut right back to Rip Torn having sex again. And I'm like, is that why he's barfing? I seriously did not expect that. So David Bowie's making friends with the elevator operator. Her name's Mary Lou. She drinks a lot. She's drinking in basically every scene. Constantly slurring her speech, and No, that is the character thing for her, is kind of a lush. Bon vivant, if you'd prefer that terminology. She asks him, what do you do for a living? And he just looks and says, I'm just visiting. And I'm like, that's not what she asked. But yeah, I guess maybe it kind of is what she asked. Because, as previously stated, he is an alien. Rip Torn winds up losing his job as a professor because he's been fucking the students. And he's like, fine, I'm gonna go get a job with World Enterprises, which is the name of David Bowie's character. David Bowie's company. And so he's like applying, he's got some theories he wants to test out with them, and he gets the job. He gets hired on. And his little monologue, his internal monologue as he's like going out there, he's like, oh, I started caring more about the work and less about fucking. And I'm like, good, maybe we won't see his hog anymore. We will see it at least once more, I think. Don't quote me on that. I was not keeping track. Mary Lou, we cut back to him and Bowie. She's like, basically she's trying to, they're like dating now. I don't know if they have boned at this point, but like, she really digs him and he seems into her. And she's like, hey, do you want to like go to church with me? It's Sunday. And he just sort of chuckles and it's like, oh, I can't go to church. And this is where I started taking bets on whether he was an alien or Satan. Because if you think about it, Lucifer fell to Earth too, right? That could be a thing. Make you think that it's about aliens, but it's about demons and such. He does end up going to the church. And he has this like sort of look on his face. They sing a hymn, and I'm like, this is not a hymn. I was watching with friends, and I'm like, I recognize this song immediately. It's like a song. The song is Jerusalem, and it's like a song about did Jesus come to England. So I'm like, maybe this is a hymn in the Anglican Church or something. But as far as I know, it is an Emerson, Lake and Palmer song. Very strange to be sung in a church, especially one in America. I don't know. It's just that's weird. Maybe it's just me. But hearing that song, I was like, I cannot blame him for chuckling. David Bowie probably was on good terms with like the folks in the band Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Cool dudes. Honestly, 2/3 of that band died the same year he did. 2016 sucked. Oh my god. We keep getting flashbacks to plastic-wrapped pod people. It's a weird costume they've got going on. It's like, it's like they're wrapped in plastic. They've got tubes coming out of the costume all over the place. And they're hanging out by, like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a mobile home rail car sailboat that's made out of Cheetos. It's very strange. It's odd. It's a triangle. Why is it on a rail? I don't know. Did their alien culture produce high-speed rail? Or, you know what? No, this thing is basically, you don't see it move that much. This is low-speed rail. This is very low-speed rail. But we see them a lot, and so when you start seeing these, you don't know if it's flashbacks or what's going on, but you start realizing, okay, this is the alien shit. So he's like one of them, right? And yeah, it's strange. Like, that is honestly a recurring thing with this film, is you're going to be looking at scenes and saying, this is weird. This is a very strange scene. Like, Bowie and his girlfriend, they're driving down the road. Well, the driver's driving them down the road. Bowie's character does not drive because moving at high speeds, above like 30, just put him out. He had, like, the elevator gave him a seizure. Come on. They get out of the car and they're looking around and like, I didn't realize America was so beautiful. Let's build a house here. Just stopped randomly in a patch of wilderness and he's like, this is the place. So they get out, they're looking at the lake, and as they're looking at the lake, he has another one of his dissociation episodes where he sees the pod people in the plastic wrap, and then the lake in his mind just explodes in a laser. I assume that didn't happen for everybody, and it only happened for him, because nobody commented on it. There was a fun part there, though. His girlfriend, Mary Lou, she says, "Oh, you're such a nice man." And he just responds, "No, I'm not." And then they have a fight. This is where they've built the house. They're doing work in the area, his company is. We don't know exactly what the work is, but they brought in a bunch of different scientists to figure out stuff with energy. Rip Torn is there. His character does energy stuff, I guess. That's like what he got hired on by the company to work on, so now he's there in the neighborhood. So I'm like, it's only a matter of time before Rip Torn and David Bowie's girlfriend have sex. That's gonna happen, right? Like, that's the whole thing, is that our experience with Rip Torn is that he's a man who likes his one field of science and fucking. And he's all out of bubblegum, you know? One of the weird transitions I'd mentioned earlier, Rip Torn, he has like a cricket. He gets just a live cricket that he's playing with, and then they just cut to him fishing. So I'm like, oh, he's using crickets as live bait. That's something I'm aware of. It's basically fly fishing, right? Except with an actual bug. The bug struggles in the water, and that attracts a fish, and then the fish bites the hook, and then the fish gets caught. But as he's out there getting ready to do this, David Bowie walks up and is just like, "Hello, Doctor, what's your name?" And Rip Torn's like, "Oh, do I know you?" "No, I know you, though." And so this is like how they meet. He ends up... Rip Torn finds out the next day, "Oh, that was your boss. He's been here. He wants to meet with you." So Rip Torn is very suspicious, and he decides to set up a special little camera device to get pictures of his boss. Apparently uses like X-ray... He takes like X-ray pictures, which that's not how X-rays work, but sure. Why not? I don't need them to understand exactly how X-rays work. But yeah, so he takes the pictures, and when he comes back, he's like had to swap out his remote controls because he was like faking. The remote control for his camera was secretly the same model as the remote control for his TV. So he was like, "Oh, we'll use the camera controller, and then I'll pretend like it doesn't work to shut the TV off, but it will have actually secretly taken pictures of David Bowie. And then I can look at the pictures." So he's using X-rays. And yeah, after he gets back, David Bowie's just like, "I can see X-ray flashes." Like, just, hey, so I can do this. Just like the most on-the-nose, "Oh, by the way, I'm an alien."
"I'm not an alien."
He hasn't been this open with anybody else so far, so like, what? He's really just cat's out of the bag now, isn't it? Rip Torn has a look at the picture after he develops it, and sure enough, Bowie is like just a silhouette sitting in a chair. So like, you don't get anything off of his body, you just get stuff off of like, you get like an aura. That's all you get from him, just an aura. Which, that was weird. So yeah, after he gets those pictures taken, he goes home, and he fucking sheds his skin.
Yeah, I'm beginning to think they're not from around here.
He takes out, he's got like... We all cringed a little bit because he took these tweezers and he put them up to his eye, and we were like, oh no, eyeball stuff. And no, he just like pulled out like a contact lens that was supposed to cover up his actual eyeballs with things that look like human eyeballs. And I'm guessing, it's David Bowie who's playing the character, right? So he has two eyes that have different, sized... One of his pupils is permanently dilated. So I'm like, did you mix and match these at the store there, buddy? If you're going to make a character played by David Bowie, give them their actual eyes, If he's gonna wear special lenses to disguise his eyes, maybe David Bowie's eyes are not the ideal candidates for this. But yeah, no, he's got lizard eyes, he takes his hair off, he's got like a wig that he's wearing, he's got no junk, he's got no nipples, he's just like a smooth... He's the pod person, he's one of these dudes in the rubber suits from the flashbacks. Mary Lou sees him, and she has the opportunity to live Tumblr's dream of fucking a sexy alien, and she just screams and bolts like the coward she is. He has a conversation with... I think the conversation was with Rip Torn. This is the thing, is that a lot of the conversation pieces in this film exist solely for Bowie's character to talk about things. It must have been with Rip Torn. If it was with Mary Lou, she never would have stopped talking over him. She is constantly 3 sheets to the wind and doesn't stop. So Rip Torn is like, are you like the first ones to visit here? Have there been others? And Bowie's character just looks at him and is like, oh, trust me, there have been other aliens here. I can see all the signs. I don't know who they are. And in fact, on my home planet, we can tell we've been visited by aliens too. Who knows? It's a very common occurrence. He lets him know that the planet he's from is super deserty, and he wants water. He's like, we were eyeballing your planet because it has so much water. We learned about it on your television. And so he's like, I'm like, does he want to steal Earth's water? We don't know what the plan there is. He doesn't seem to want to steal Earth's water. He has a wife and 2 kids back on Alien World. Are they dead? Are they dead of thirst? They seem to be. We also find out why he needed to build a multi-billion-dollar company. He wanted to start his own private space program. I hate that this is relevant. So he's all set to go back into space. Something happens as they're getting ready for the space flight. They end up like scrapping it at the moment, and he ends up getting hauled off. So he gets back into his car and they drive off. He's having a little bit of an episode. And this is the thing. Business interests have amalgamated to deal with David Bowie and his upstart World Enterprises company. A couple of roller derby businessmen show up to assassinate his business partner, the patent doctor. Just throw him out the window. Just straight up defenestration. Didn't expect that. Looked real bad. 1970s dummy flying out of a window. It's not exactly lifelike. Bowie's driver ends up taking him to like a medical facility. And like instead of taking him home, and like the medical facility, it's got all these doctors who, I swear to God, this is the only time in a movie I think I've ever seen where somebody's like, well, no, it's not the only time. But now that I think about it, no, this happened in K-Pax too. A character is like, oh, I'm an alien, trust me, just let me go. I need to leave. I'm going to space. I'm an alien, trust me. And they're like, no, you're a human. We're gonna do some tests on you. So, I don't know, the business guys, like, didn't want to kill him, I guess. They just want to do tests on him to find out what's wrong with him, when actually what's wrong with him is he's an alien. They do some... They, like, cut into his nipple for some reason. They're like, we're gonna x-ray your head. One of the doctors notices he's got like lenses on, and he's like, here, let me get some tweezers, I'll take those out for you. And Bowie's like, no, you can't take them out, give me the tweezers. So he like, you see his hand go up to his eye to deal with the tweezer to get the eye lens out, and his hands are so shaky, and the doctor's like, oh no, don't worry about it. And we're all just watching the movie like, no, more eyeball stuff, oh no. And so they force him to get his face x-rayed. He's like, no, I can't look at it, it's a blinding flash. And they're like, no, you can't see an x-ray. You can't see x-rays, sir. They're invisible. He's like, I can, I'm an alien. Please don't do this. Don't take a picture of my eyes with your x-rays. And they did it. And then he's like, you have fused the lenses to my eyeballs. They'll never come off now. And I'm like, this guy is having the worst time in his life. All because these doctor guys are like, they don't believe that he's an alien? I feel like there should have been a way to prove something or other, but like, my God, they can't just like force the world's richest man to get his head x-rayed. I wouldn't imagine. I don't know. David Bowie's character, it's a shame he's not the type of alien who is physically strong enough to fight back, because an alien with mind powers would have just like splattered all these guys. You know, we don't need that just yet. There's at least one movie on the list where that will sort of be a solution. But that is not this kind of movie. David Bowie's character is a frail, fragile waif of a man. Just a twink cannot fight against normal medical doctors. I'm sorry. It's not happening. Mary Lou ends up like walking in. Like she walks just into the place and is like, "Oh, it's you. You're my boyfriend. Hello, I missed you so much." And he's like, "I don't trust you at all. What are you doing here?" He's got like a gun, and he like points the gun at her, and she's like, "I don't even care." And he pulls the trigger, and it's full of blanks. He's like, "I asked them to give me a gun with blanks." And I'm just sitting over here like, I know this is America, but the doctors aren't going to prescribe you gun, man. That's not a thing. So more time passes, and as this movie's happening, everybody is like haggard. Mary Lou is like, she's wearing old lady makeup at this point, so she's supposed to look like she's like 50 or something. And not the sprightly 20-something that she was when they first met. Back like, you know, an hour ago in the movie. Rip Torn has a whole bunch of gray put in his hair. And I guess Rip Torn and Mary Lou, they wind up meeting and maybe getting married? They're an item now, at least. So I guess my prediction was true. Mary Lou does end up fucking Rip Torn. We just don't see the hog, which I am perfectly fine with. I do not want to see what sort of old man makeup they would have to apply to Rip Torn's hog. Yeah. So that prediction came true. And David Bowie is the only one who does not age terribly. He ends up escaping from the hospital because Mary Lou is just like, "I'm leaving the door open so you can get out." And he fucking walks out and he just sort of disappears. And then Rip Torn finds him again and they just sit down. And like, "Oh, it's you. What are you doing here?" And the movie just ends with him being like, "Well, I think I've had enough," and then puts his head down, and then like it stops, and the credits roll, and it's like a freeze frame, except it's not a freeze frame because you can see things moving in the background. So this is the ultimate fate of David Bowie's alien, Mr. Newton, who has fallen to Earth. He is condemned to spend the rest of his days, possibly forever, on Earth. He's no longer running a billion-dollar company, though that's probably fine. The only reason he wanted that was to try to build a spaceship anyhow. And he's just, "I've had enough of this shit," and he's just stuck here. And he's been through it. There's no, like, climax or anything. It's just, well, that was my time on Earth so far. No, and I just remember the chat. We were like, that's how it ends? Very strange. I mean, I'd recommend it. It's entertaining. It's interesting. Interesting things happen. You will enjoy it if you like David Bowie. If you like Rip Torn, you'll enjoy that too. It's not even the only, like, Rip Torn has done alien movies before. Men in Black, you know? Now I have to wonder. I know Michael Jackson showed up in one of the Men in Black movies. Did they do a thing where they were like, "Oh yeah, David Bowie's an alien too"? Because they had like screens where they were like, these are all the celebrities on Earth who are actually secretly aliens, and we're monitoring them 24/7. And it would have been, I feel, a good callback to have David Bowie up there, on account of Rip Torn being the guy running the Men in Black. I just don't know if they, slipped that in or not. It's been decades, literal decades, since I've watched a Men in Black film. Well, not a Men in Black film, but since I watched the first one. The only one with Rip Torn. The only one where that joke might have made sense. Yeah, that is... I don't have a lot else to say about this movie. It's a series of bizarre events orchestrated by an alien who just wants to leave the planet, and who they end up shitting in his cereal because he just has a bad time the whole time. Nothing is good on this planet for him. He just wanted a drink of water. They should have just looted Neptune, you know? Depending on their alien technology. Did he come in a rocket? I don't know. Did he just open a portal and expect to be able to come back that way? Who knows? All I know is, when we saw his weird little Cheetos Toblerone house going down its rail line, it sure seemed like his wife and kids were dying of actual thirst, and maybe he just was in desperation, trying to go somewhere. I don't know. There's a TV series that came out, starring, I never know how to pronounce his name. It's like Chiwetel Ejiofor? He's a very entertaining actor. I enjoy what he does. And he's apparently the star of the TV series. So, I don't know, maybe that offers a few more insights. Maybe I'm sure this has to be based on a book. Like, this is 70s sci-fi. Star Wars has come out, and so everybody wants a piece of the sci-fi pie. So maybe this is maybe the book is a little bit more forthcoming with answers about what's going on with his family and how the alien got here in the first place. I couldn't tell you, but yeah, that is basically all I got to say for this. You know, it's well acted. David Bowie's there. He's always fun. But hey, let's find out what we're gonna watch next week. Let's go. Okay, right off the bat, Fabulous Baron Munchausen comes out front, but you can't guess yet. Come on now. As these guys swirl around, whoever gets into the hole first is who's gonna win. Who's gonna win this neck of the race at least. Black Sunday appears to be first in. It's Black Sunday. Okay. Black Sunday is coming down, followed by My Favorite Software is Being Her. After Hours, My Dinner with Andre. There's definitely holes over there. Okay, we have some moguls here. Did one of them die? Oh, okay, yeah, they're getting catapulted. Wow, okay, so the previous frontrunner appears to have died. Night on Earth, My Favorite Software is Being Her, both dead. My Dinner with Andre, flown off the side. Scanners, Phantasm are out. This course is Death Trap. Killing of a Chinese Bookie, Black Sunday. Number one. Oh, the finish line jukes too. Oh my gosh. Okay. This, you're gonna have more things dead than in the actual. Did we get? What happened here? Okay, I don't know what that was. Are we going to get an actual full 10 to finish? Come on, Kiss of the Spider Woman, I know you can do it. You did not stick the landing. Okay. Absolutely bonkers track. Final results. First place is House. House! We've been waiting for this. Second place, the fabulous Baron Munchausen. Third place, the Third Man. Fourth place, Half a Loaf of Kung Fu. Fifth place, the Seventh Seal. Sixth place, the Velvet Vampire. Seventh is Cecil B. Demented. Eighth, Meeting the Man, James Baldwin in Paris. Ninth, Fear City. And then nothing for 10th place. Everybody else died. Oh my god.